time there was a guidance in the CDC guidelines requiring 4 feet of distance between the student chairs. Well, on the first day of our spring break on March 20th, the CDPH actually changed that guidance from 4 feet to 3 feet and actually softened it even more. The recommendation now says maintaining a minimum of 3 feet between student chairs is strongly recommended, which is different than the 4-foot rule that we had in place previously. So the upshot is that this change from 4 to 3 feet actually makes all the difference. So both of our middle school principals spent a part of their spring break on campus measuring all of their classrooms and have verified that they are able to bring back physically both cohorts at 3 feet into their classrooms. So that's very good news. So that I'll be working up to a recommendation in just a moment. But before I do so, I want to highlight the COVID data for this month. I showed the board this graph last month. This is the these are the county numbers. You can see where the spike was around the new year. It came down. You can see this is now another month worth of data. The numbers are still staying very low. Here locally, you will recall that this is the number you're looking at over here. At the height of the spike, this number was it was in the 80s. Last month, it was 13.3. This month, it's 6.2. So that number continues to decline. That's very, very good news for us. And I'll ask Dr. Winspear to walk through numbers, COVID numbers here within the district itself.
So our COVID numbers currently are pretty much exactly where we want them to be, where we would expect them to be given the county and statewide trends. So as you can see, between March 9th and April 14th, we have only had 2 student cases of COVID and only 1 staff case. And you see this represented on the chart again, big spike back in January. And then since then, we have been leveling off with just a couple of cases in the last month. And with respect to students who are reporting students and staff, who are reporting symptoms of COVID. Again, we are seeing those numbers trending down rapidly. We had big numbers back in October and November. Students, since our last board meeting, we've had 141 students who have reported symptoms that not necessarily of COVID, but symptoms that we know are associated with COVID, and only 6 staff members. And with respect to being close contacts with someone with COVID, as we would expect, since rates are declining rapidly, close contacts are also declining rapidly, right along with the rates in our community.
Thank you. So as we have reported last month, if we were to move to phase 3 for our middle schools, the same COVID-19 mitigation strategies would remain in place as we reported last month. The CDPH guidance has been updated as of March 20th with that notable change of 3 feet. Our COVID-19 prevention program is still online. So all of those same guidelines would remain in effect, including but not limited to face masks, sanitizing of high-touch surfaces, hand washing, symptom screening, contact tracing, and then again, the 3 feet between the student chairs. Our middle school schedule would look like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. They would continue on with their current start and end times as they are now. Our Wednesday would be a slightly longer day than that pre-COVID early release in order to provide the required number of minimum minutes and PLC time for teachers. And we are also recommending an asynchronous day on the 23rd, Friday the 23rd, for final preparations, so our teachers can get their classrooms ready to go for a Monday the 26th, beginning to phase 3. Before I get, oh, sorry, there's one more. As I mentioned, the same parameters would be in place for families requesting to move from distance learning to in-person, or from in-person back to distance learning, would be if there's space available. So we did have some of those requests, a few of those requests when the elementary students came back, and the middle schools would accommodate as many as they can, but would give priority, in-seat priority to those who are currently in person in the hybrid model. And then before I conclude, I wanted to just highlight a couple of things for next year. So some new information has come out just this week, and there was a briefing today with superintendents. So our full-time in-person instruction will continue to be the default for our district going into the fall. If the board takes action this evening to approve a move to phase 3, then on the 26th, I want to say that we will be one of the only districts who is maybe the only district that is now running for all intents and purposes, a pre-pandemic instructional schedule. There are other districts that have their students in 5 days a week. Many of them are doing grab and go lunch. We were able to do our lunches and our recesses. So I'm very proud of that fact. Our home flex will continue to be offered next year. And then we are also working on finalizing a distance learning or an independent study model to offer for that small number of parents who are still going to be a little uncomfortable coming back next fall. So we want to make sure we've got options for everybody. On the state level, as you are aware, on June 15th, the governor intends to discontinue the whole tier system as outlined in the blueprint for a safer economy. So if that stays true, then we will not have any more tier system anymore. There are indications that masks and contact tracing are going to be with us for a while. So I would anticipate that requirement still being in place into the fall, at least for schools. It was very encouraging to hear today that the medical authorities are saying that transition rates are expected to stay stable. Transmission, that's a typo, forgive me. Transmission rates are expected to stay stable, and they do not expect a fourth wave, a fourth spike. So that's very good news. And with the discontinuing of the blueprint for the safer economy and the tier system, there is some indication that, and some expectation that the Cal OSHA standards and some of the CDPH guidelines are going to start shifting as well. They have not yet, but we're expecting that some of that might happen. So that's just a little look into next year. But for this evening, it is the staff's recommendation that the board take action to move to phase 3 of our district reopening plan, which is 5 days a week in-person instruction on April 26th for grades 6 through 8 with that asynchronous day on Friday the 23rd. And I apologize for my speedy delivery, trying to get this in before our internet does anything else funny to us. Thank you.
I will make the motion.
I will second that motion. Any more discussion?
Just how exciting it is to have our district back to a pre-pandemic like schedule. And I want to thank everyone for their efforts.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Madam President, I just want to make sure that Trustee LaChapa's vote, I believe, was registered as an aye.
Aye.
She said aye after you asked for the opposed. So I just want to.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure that we've got the record straight.
Now that we've handled that, we'll go back to the beginning of the agenda. And if you can bring Stacy Arnold in to make her presentation. Thank you. There she is. Stacy?
No one told me I was presenting tonight.
Oh,
Just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Kidding.
It's on the screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, good evening. And thank you for the opportunity. Hang on a second. It did not go back. See, now I'm having the technical difficulties. I apologize.
No worries.
Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
We
Okay.
can.
So, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to highlight some of the amazing things that are happening at Lakeview. I know we're a little bit out of order tonight, but we are going to begin with Mrs. Williams' class leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so tonight I thought I would present our spotlight in a slightly different way than we've done in the past. So if you'll indulge me, I thought I would lead us on a little stroll down memory lane, or maybe it might be more appropriate to refer to it as a memory roller coaster. Just kind of reflecting on our journey throughout the last year. So as we know, on March 13th, just a couple weeks ago, it marked 1 year since we closed the doors of our schools. And I don't know about you, but at the time I really thought it was just going to be for a couple of weeks and we would be back after spring break and things would be back to normal, but sadly that wasn't the case. So almost a year later, it's been quite a ride. I have to say, I have never been more proud to work alongside our amazing Lakeview teachers and staff. Our teachers very quickly learned how to take the four walls of their classrooms and deliver instruction within the walls of their own homes. Kitchen tables became teacher desks and textbooks turned into tablets. So back in March of 2020, you may recall that we were all attending trainings on how to use Zoom. But now I think it's pretty safe to say we can all Zoom in our sleep. As a staff, we had to work harder than ever to stay connected, even though we couldn't be together. And despite the fact that our staff is so large that we can't all fit on one Zoom screen. My fellow principals and I had to figure out how to express our appreciation for our staff when we couldn't even see each other and we couldn't be together. Grade levels learned to collaborate remotely. They planned lessons together virtually every week, and I was very privileged to be able to be included in many of those grade level meetings. And again, so much respect and admiration for the incredible amount of time that our teachers put into distance learning. Before COVID, a drive-through was somewhere where you went to get a hamburger or a milkshake or a taco. Now we know it as a place where families can pick up a textbook or an assignment or an iPad or a promotion certificate. And then we shifted to phase 2. And we were also excited to have our kids back on campus. You could literally see the smiles underneath their little masks. But phase 2 also brought with it a whole new set of protocols and challenges and a very steep learning curve. We had to close the gates to our families that we love having on our campuses. Safety shields went up between teachers and kids, and we worked hard to connect with our classmates at home through daily social emotional lessons while we were at school with our cohort. We learned how to screen for COVID symptoms and perform daily temperature checks. I have to say, I especially love Mrs. King's unique take on her daily screening of her students.
Last 2 weeks, have you been in direct contact with anyone that's experienced COVID-19? Since yesterday, have you had fever, chills, cough, runny nose, shortness of breath, fatigue, muscle ache, headache, loss of taste or smell, sore throat, barfing, or diarrhea? You could go. Last 2 weeks, have you been in?
If you know Mickey King, you know that is nothing out of the ordinary for her. We also learned how to modify our lines and our lunches to enforce social distancing. I don't even know if that was a word pre-COVID. Our library became a rest and recovery room. Hand washing was built into our daily routine every 60 to 90 minutes. I have to say I'm very grateful to our district office and our director of maintenance for providing us with extra hours for our campus student supervisors and additional custodial staff to ensure that all high-touch surface areas continue to be sanitized throughout the day and each night. Just up until last week, our playgrounds were fenced off and off limits to our kids. I have to give a huge shout out to our incredible playground coordinator, Jackie Siragusa, and her phenomenal team. They took a seemingly impossible task and they absolutely have knocked it out of the park. They have completely and totally reinvented recess. We were determined as a team to figure out a way to provide students with opportunities to get exercise and fresh air while still maintaining our protocols. They painted a sensory path on our playground for kids to get contactless exercise. They sanitize our equipment every single day. And our awesome PTA also helped us purchase additional equipment so that every student could use their own hula hoop or frisbee or scoop ball or hockey stick. And then we went back to distance learning. And then we went back to hybrid. And then on Monday, we welcomed all students back on campus full-time every day. And again, it was another big shift for our staff. We revised our bell schedules. We revised our drop-off and pickup procedures. We changed recess and lunch schedules. And we again reinvented recess. 6 feet became 3 feet. And many teachers worked during their spring break to move furniture and plan for a full classroom of students. But I have to say that on Monday, those smiles could not be concealed underneath our masks. I have to give a big shout out to Principal Gergens and Vice Principal Root from El Capitan High School, who sent their band to welcome our students back on campus. And our PTA, they also had our campus fully decorated with balloons. And I have to say it was just all around a festive, happy, amazing day. Speaking of our fantastic PTA, I'd like to acknowledge them for all of their hard work and flexibility throughout this last school year. They also learned how to pivot and reinvent their support of our students. They hosted a drive-through membership drive complete with ice cream. They organized a virtual fundraiser. Just this last weekend, we had a virtual father-daughter dance, and this coming weekend, we're having a virtual mother-son paint night. So we are very, very grateful to them for all of their support this year. I'd also like to give a shout out to Lakeview alumni James Covert, who chose Lakeview as his Eagle Scout project this year. James and his hardworking team, many of them also Lakeview alumni, built retaining walls to combat the erosion that's been affecting our amphitheater out back. He also did a major cleanup of our amphitheater, which had been neglected due to school closures, and he surprised us with a brand new Lakeview sign. So thank you, James Covert. We're incredibly grateful to you and your entire family. It was definitely a family labor of love for choosing Lakeview as your Eagle project. And congratulations to you on achieving the highest rank in the Boy Scout organization. I'd also like to recognize our wonderful counselor, Claudia Lemme, and our MTSS TOSA, Sasha Elbaz. I would like to thank the board for your continued support of these vital positions. These ladies have worked tirelessly to ensure that our students have been engaged throughout all phases of this journey, and they continue to work tirelessly to support our staff, students, and families. So here we are, 8 weeks remaining in the 2020-2021 school year. And at Lakeview, we continue to work hard to address our students' academic and social emotional needs. We're also committed to celebrating the successes of our students every day. Make no mistake, our students and staff have absolutely been the superheroes throughout this entire journey. And I think it's safe to say that together, we've learned some very critical skills. Among them, flexibility, resilience, perseverance, and grace. So when I reflect on this last year, I'm incredibly proud to be a part of Lakeview and the incredible Lakeside Union School District team. To you, our board of trustees, to our district office staff, my colleagues in management, our teachers, our classified staff, not only at Lakeview, but district-wide, I'd like to give you a great big thumbs up. You rose to the occasion, and I think we all have a lot to be proud of and a lot to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Okay. Trustee reports. Bonnie?
Mute. I just wanted to say that last night we had our first in-person PTA meeting at Lindo Park. So that felt really good to be there. And Lindo Park reported out that their first week of school has been great and no hiccups, and they're enjoying having everyone back on campus. And it just felt good to be in that in-person meeting and talk about school projects in 5th grade and parties and things that are going on in campus. Thank you.
Lara?
I want to start by just saying I hope everybody had a great spring break, that all of the staff and the teachers got a chance to to take a break and have a little time and have a good holiday. I got to enjoy seeing all the kids at Lakeside Farms on Monday for their back to school kind of bash that they did, and it was really nice. It was like the first day of school, but without the anxiety of the first day of school. And all the kids were so excited to see each other. And it was so nice to see. So I really enjoyed getting to do that.
Thank you.
Sorry, let me try again. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the Instructional Planning Committee meeting and see the great work that they're doing there. Dr. Reed walked us through Thought Exchange, and we did participate in creating a Thought Exchange and engaging with that platform. Had some really good conversations around that. Then I was able to visit Riverview Elementary School today and see all the kids back in class. And we were able to watch some really great science experiments with Mentos and soda. The one thing I didn't know is that sand has a reaction with soda. So I learned that today. Then over to Lakeside Farms to see their ginormous parking lot that is really well done, and see the kids down there, some of the new furniture that was down in the shelter area. So that was really great. Excited about all of the great things that we have going on. Grateful to all of our teachers and our staff who are just keeping it going and adjusting with us with grace to the changes that come. So thank you to you all.
Okay, well, since the last board meeting, I was reelected to the School Board Association Delegate Assembly, so I will be back doing that. So I'm very excited. I want to thank my colleagues for their support in that effort. So as a result of that, I was able to participate in the School Board Association Lobby Day, where we were talking to legislators via Zoom. A very different experience than normal, where we go to Sacramento and we knock on doors and we advocate for our students and families in Lakeside. So it was good, actually. It was quite interesting. I hope we can be back up there next year. But anyway, did that, very exciting. I also participated in the San Diego County School Board Association monthly meeting where we talk about what all the different school districts are doing in San Diego. Really great opportunity for us to for me to hear what other districts are looking at. So participated in that. And then we had a redesignation ceremony that I was on a Zoom for, and I went to Eucalyptus Hills and read a great little book to all the students up there. Lots of fun. So that was my report.
Thank you, everyone. I have been in the equity committee meetings where we have had some really meaningful discussions. Enjoying being on that committee. I was also in the redesignation ceremony, and that was very different from in the past, but I think that the kids were still excited to receive the redesignation. I also read up at Eucalyptus Hills. That's always fun. The kids are great. Went to Lakeside Farms for that Monday Welcome Back rally, which was, I got to see the parking lot as well. And it was so fun to see the kids. They had some activities planned, and it was great to see all the kids excited to be back in school and be all together. I was able to go to Lindo Park, and Tessa, the new principal, showed me all around. Well, I guess she's been the principal, but she's the new permanent principal. I saw the kids eating lunch and how that whole procedure works. I saw a snack going on as well with different grades, and I got to see the new desks, which are amazing. And it's interesting to see all the different configurations. The teachers really have used their imagination in their own way, and it's neat to see all the different configurations. And same at Lakeview. Got to see the lunch procedures as well as snack, and the desks all look great. Those new desks are beautiful. And I want to go ahead and say a shout out to Jackie, because she is a mean Foursquare player. She's got some skills. So thank you to everyone who showed me around. So we will move on to some recognitions. I believe Cesar is going to make those.
I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Andy's
Yeah,
doing
thank you. So the board is aware that each year our schools and departments select a teacher of the year and a classified employee of the year from each school and each department. And it was coming time to do our selection again this year. And then from that pool, then we select a teacher of the year and a classified employee of the year to represent the district at the county level. Time was coming to make our selections again this year, and about a month ago, our leadership team got together and we were talking about how do we honor our teachers and our classified employees in a year such as we've had. And we were actually unanimous that we thought, and I was thinking as Stacy was making her presentation, it was a perfect lead into this, that the leadership team was unanimous in deciding that really every single teacher in our district should be named Teacher of the Year, and every single classified employee should be named Classified Employee of the Year this year. So our leadership team came together, and I asked our team who's got some creative juices that they could bring to bear for something we could do that would be fun for our staff. And none other than our resident thespian, Steve Mull, had an idea to put together a video with a Wizard of Oz theme. So we got together last week on Zoom and we recorded a silly, fun little video for the staff. We pushed that out yesterday to everybody to make the announcement that we're honoring every single teacher and every classified employee of the year. So I wanted to let the board know that is very, very exciting for us. And we will do later on the agenda tonight, we have the resolution for the recognizing Day of the Teacher. So it's very appropriate. And we'll look forward to celebrating when we can get back in person at some point. We'll look forward to celebrating our teachers with our normal ice cream socials and those kinds of things. But I want to let the board know that was the decision that we made this year.
The video was awesome.
I didn't know what to expect when I first saw it. I said, Wizard of Oz, what's going on? It was really good. So thank you, Steve.
We do. We have Karen Castro.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. You know what? I was going to speak, but whoops. It sounds like the board has already made the decision to have middle school go back. And I was just going to mention some things that I thought, but since it sounds like the decision is made, I will refrain.
We'd like to hear what you have to say, Karen. I'm glad to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a parent of a student who has been on the hybrid schedule at TDS, and we've been pretty pleased with the way the school has handled these very difficult times. It's been hard for everyone. Some of my daughter's teachers already told them, either on Monday or Tuesday when she was at school, that next week would probably be their last week on hybrid, which was kind of disappointing to me that people have already, that you all have started moving in this direction without getting any parental input. As far as the parental input goes, there was a survey that was sent out to the elementary families before the decision was made to move into full-time. I feel like bringing the middle school back safely is more difficult than the elementary school. And so just some of the questions I had were, I know that everything's moving to 3 feet. I know in the district that I teach in, we're still at 5 feet. But how is the staff going to be able to keep the students within this 3-foot distancing in and out of the classroom? Is there enough supervision to make sure that the kids are adhering to the safety guidelines? Will the schedules change in order to keep the groups of students in stable groupings so that they're not all mixing, which would probably not going to happen because that would be really hard? Will there be cleaning happening in between the periods? Will temperature checks still be done? I just wish that the board or the district would have asked hybrid parents, how many of you feel comfortable going back into the full-time, when, you know, when I made or my family made the decision to put my daughter into hybrid, it was because it was half the kids. And so now you're moving into full-time without maybe surveying parents of hybrid kids. Maybe most of hybrid parents would prefer to continue with hybrid. So I was just really disappointed that, you know, nothing was said. My daughter came home from school saying that, you know, 1 more week. So, you know, I'm pretty sure the board already knows what they're going to do. I think you already voted. So I thank you for your time, and I hope you keep our kids safe.
Thank you, Karen. Well, because we voted before we heard public comment, I'm going to have us revote because we hadn't thought about that when we were talking about the computer problems and the instability of our network at this time. So it's still going. So I'm glad to talk further about it. Dr. Johnson could maybe address some of the things that, had Karen brought them up, you would have addressed during your presentation.
Certainly. So yes, the principals have looked at their campuses. They have looked at all the classrooms. They can verify that there will be 3 feet between all the seats. And they've looked at their lunch areas to make sure that they can provide the proper distancing in the lunch areas. As I mentioned previously, all of the mitigation efforts are in place. I will also say that SB 98 is still in effect. That was from earlier that was from last June, that school districts, LEAs, are to offer as much in-person instruction as they are able to do, to the greatest extent possible is the way the language reads. And so all school districts are required to be moving in this direction when it's safe to do so. And so that's why we had initially brought to the board our reopening plan in 3 phases last July. We've moved through both phases 1 and 2, and in the spirit of the law, and also with the surveys that we have done of our community, as you're aware, the vast majority of our community is ready to move. That's why I shared the COVID numbers that are very, very low. And I do apologize for making that presentation really quickly while we were concerned about the internet, because that is correct. We should have that vote again.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
I just wanted to say that Am I unmuted? Can everyone hear me? Okay, good.
Uh-huh.
I got it right. I've had lots of parents. I know that I've called Andy probably 3 or 4 times that are really excited about the middle school. When we only made the elementary, I had a lot of parents reach out to me saying, that's really great. What about the middle school? And we said, yeah, we want to get all of our kids back in person. And so I just want to say that I've had lots of parents reach out to me in my community, and they're really excited about the in-person. It's been over a year, and they're so excited. You know, I've asked Andy about not having to do the drive-through, graduations, but we've said that that's, baby steps. But I just wanted to say that I've had a lot of input and a lot of excited parents about going back to full-time for middle schoolers.
Dr. Johnson, could you, I think it'd be important to help address some of the hybrid concerns that we had talked about at the last board meeting in regards to whether or not we were going to do hybrid next year, and sort of why the decision was made. That might help illuminate some of that discussion we had for Ms. Castro as well.
Sure. So as the board is aware, we can offer a couple of different programs, but in terms of our staff bandwidth and the logistical constraints that we've got, it's just impossible to provide all 3. That's why our reopening plan never had all 3 programs at the same time, fully in-person, hybrid, and distance learning. So we've always only offered 2. So it's either been, or 1, it's either been full distance learning or then distance learning and hybrid, and now distance learning and full in-person instruction. The number of parents and families who desire at this point hybrid instruction is very, very small. Those students would be spread out all across the district, and it's just impossible to create classes of those with those small numbers of students.
Thank you. And then I guess just one other thing, our safety protocols that we adopted, they're still in place, correct?
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
We'll go ahead and vote 1 at a time, that way. We're sure about the vote. Bonnie?
Aye. Are we voting?
Yes.
I can't hear anyone.
Yes.
Okay. I can hear you now.
Lara?
Aye.
Rhonda?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, so then we will move to Shannon Johnston's presentation of the audit report. Is Shannon with us? There she is. Hi, Shannon.
All right. Good evening, Governing Board. Thank you so much for having me tonight. It's my pleasure to present the 1920 audit. So I'm going to pull it on up and then we'll get started. All righty. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. The entire 116-page audit report is available in the board packet. I used to work for an audit firm, the audit firm that actually audits Lakeside, and the managing partner said it's great material if you are having a hard time going to sleep. So check that out. So this is the, all right, so I'm going to go over some audit requirements before we get started with the report. In education code and per GASB, our LEA is required to have an annual audit. Usually we would have the audit due date in December 15th, and then the governing board would be reviewing the audit report in January. Because of COVID, everything was kind of delayed, so they extended our 1920 audit report with the due date of March 31st. So that's why we're just seeing it So kind of we'll have to put on our 1920 hats for a couple minutes. And our district is required to kind of have 4 audits. It's all consolidated into one report. It's the main audit on all our financial statements, then an internal control audit over those financial statements, a nice federal compliance audit because we receive a certain amount of federal funding, and then a state compliance audit that CDE requires. So the biggest kind of part of the audit report is the overall financial statements. The main objective for the auditors is to provide opinion. The opinion is that there's reasonable assurance that the financial statements are not materially misstated and that they're following generally accepted accounting principles. Pretty much saying that the numbers we're reporting are right and we're following all those boring accounting rules. Now there's 3 different types of opinions that the auditors can give. They can give an unmodified opinion, which is the best. A modified, which you still don't want, it's bad. That means there were significant deficiencies. And then an adverse is a worst. I've never seen an adverse opinion in my own audit experience, so it's pretty bad. And then page 1 of our own audit report shows the auditor's opinion. There's a nice little paragraph that pretty much states for the 1920 year, we got an unmodified opinion. So we got the best opinion possible on our financial statements. Now those other 3 audit reports were internal control over financial reporting. So think kind of your controls over how your cash management. Think pre-approval for expenditures. Segregation of duties is the big key term that everyone looks at when they're doing an internal control audit. And then there was a federal compliance audit, and the 1920 programs that were audited were Title I, CSI, and Impact Aid. And then the state compliance, it's categories that the CDE requires, so attendance, unduplicated pupil counts, instructional time, and those are really key compliance areas that all tie back to our funding. So those areas are incredibly important. Probably the next most important page of the audit is page 105, and it shows on all those different audits, we had unmodified opinions for each of those areas. We had no significant deficiencies, no material weaknesses, and no findings. So we got an A+. And then lastly, probably the most confusing part of the audit is that the auditors present different financial statements than what we're normally used to seeing when we're looking at first interim, second interim, adopted budget, and unaudited actuals. We usually just look at the fund financial statements, and that's on a modified accrual basis, meaning we're not looking at our long-term liabilities like our debt, that big net pension liability, and that big net OPEB liability. And also, we're not looking at our capital assets when we're looking at our interim reports and unaudited actuals. We do have current year capital asset expenditures though. So the auditors just need to reconcile and make sure it goes to a full accrual basis. It gets a little complicated, but in the audit report, there are 4 pages that show all those reconciliations. So if you're looking at the financial statements and you see a huge ending balance deficit, you know that's all those big long-term liabilities that aren't really cash, and they won't affect the, it's not like we have to pay those liabilities back like right now. It's a huge big picture. And then lastly, I had to throw in a cute little meme. We passed our audit. Yes, we are awesome. It really takes a district to pass an audit. I went over, there's federal compliance, there's state compliance. There are so many rules and procedures. It takes site level with attendance and secretaries putting in requisitions, ed services following all those compliance rules, HR, business services, even maintenance with when the auditors look at SARCs and FITs. So great job, Lakeside. Great job to our staff for making it another great audit year. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
No, just thank you so much for the report, and thank you to the team who gets great audits almost every single year. So good job.
Yep, absolutely.
Great work.
Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the audit?
I'll make the motion that we accept the audit as presented.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you. Do we have Hee Jin here to give us an update on the HomeFlex program? Hi, Hee Jin.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm gonna share screen. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. All right, HomeFlex. I'm gonna give you a little bit of an update and a little bit of an overview because it is still a very new school and a lot of people are still trying to figure us out. So it is our alternative school and our students come from all schools in the Lakeside Union School District and all areas through San Diego County. And these numbers are constantly shifting because we know that our parents are choosing now a different path and to go back to campus. So I'm going to say these are soft numbers for now. Lemon Crest 15, Lakeside Farms 15, Lindo Park 9, Lakeview 10, Riverview 15, and Winter Gardens 16. We definitely have more primary students in HomeFlex this year, as opposed to if you look at LMS and TDS, we have 5 each. And then at Eucalyptus Hills, our TKers, we only have 2 students. And our goal really has been to have our students stay with our school district and help them to return to their school site. And when there is room, even though our families do sign a master agreement that lasts 1 school year, we really do what's best for our students. And if there is room at their site and they're wanting to go back and all the pieces are in the right place, then we definitely help that to happen. Other bits of information I wanted you to know was that we do have 14 students with IEPs, 2 students with 504s, and we have 31 students with IDTs. Our enrollment this year has been pretty steady from about 90 to 100, as opposed to about 20 from last year. And so we do have more students who are waiting to come in, and they're mostly from out of district. Every time we're able to help a student go back to one of our site campuses, we have students calling from other parts of San Diego County who are hearing about us, and that's really exciting. The one tidbit that I wanted to mention here about is the students with health alerts. And this could range everything from just glasses, but yes, I have kind of perused through our student group, and we do have a lot of students who have had asthma. And we did know that that would be something that made the parents look for an alternative plan this year through COVID. So that was interesting to note here. Okay. And enrolling in HomeFlex is a little bit different. We do hold a one-on-one meeting with the parents and the family with either myself or the lead teacher this year. And we really felt that a questionnaire wasn't going to do it. We really needed to talk to the family if this is the right fit. They are taking on this challenge to become the child's primary educator. So we want to really develop a plan with them instead of just like enrolling anyone who happens to think of it. So determine if it's the right fit, and a real conversation about how the homeschooling is going to work happens with myself or Ms. Farron. Then when we decide to sign a HomeFlex agreement, that's when we begin the registration process with our district office. We have an amazing team that supports us. And then our support teacher, and we call it a support teacher often because we remind the parents that you're signing on to be the teacher. So we do have a credential support teacher who will meet with you one-on-one to review all the curriculum and to really set up a plan with you. So in addition to learning with parents, we have Zoom classes. So academic Zooms are offered throughout the week by each teacher. We have in-person classes, and those have transitioned to mostly afternoon sessions for all of our grade levels, because we really wanted to still be very cautious of this COVID not mixing cohorts, and we share the campus with at Eucalyptus Hills, and we wanted to be careful about our students and the students at Eucalyptus Hills not mixing. And the intervention, every teacher offers interventions via Zoom or in person, depending on the groups. And we have enrichment opportunities by staff, parents, even community members. And we have a great partnership with Scripps Research Institute this year. And then how do students choose to learn in HomeFlex? So only a very small percent, about 10%, chooses to learn only with their parents. We have 60% of our students who attend some kind of in-person learning, and we have 70% of our students attending some kind of Zoom. And of course, our parents who are doing a combination of all three. They're doing some parent learning, in-person learning, and Zoom to really create the fit that's right for their family. And in middle school, so in-person classes we have this year, our PE, science, and reading intervention. Zoom classes that we have this year are specifically English, a social club, Spanish enrichment, visual arts, and digital arts. And our students are choosing to still participate at TDS and LMS, the Mandarin Humanities, the social studies and English blocks, Spanish as well, math, PE, robotics, crew, and dance. And so let me just take a moment to explain that a little bit more. When we developed HomeFlex and opened it, not this school year, but the previous school year, 2019-2020, we had a mission, a goal, and a vision for students and parents who wanted a different option. And so we created a HomeFlex that allows our middle school students to take up to 2 classes at LMS or TDS. Now with the COVID year, we informed parents early this year that that may not be possible, because we're really gonna have to figure out as the different phases enrolled if we're able to accommodate HomeFlexers on the LMS or TDS campus. But our students did start with online electives, so they were able to participate at LMS and TDS at the beginning of the year in August with some online electives. And once again, we made decisions based on what was best for our students. So currently at this time, we do have 2 students taking classes at LMS, and we do have 6 students who are taking classes at TDS. And I wanted to mention that we have a HomeFlexer who is the captain of the robotics team and really involved at their middle school. So it's not this, I feel really proud of what we've done. It's really an amazing partnership with all our district school sites, and that's what makes our HomeFlex so powerful. And once again, with middle schools, because last year when we first started, we did have more middle school families look into HomeFlex. We really do align it with TDS and LMS. So for example, if all 7th and 8th grade middle school students are guided through a suicide prevention course, we make sure in HomeFlex all of our 7th and 8th grade students are guided through that same suicide prevention course. And here is the beautiful new desk that we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. And our 5th graders, we fully encourage our 5th graders. We do have a large 5th grade class this year. They attend all the incoming middle school parent interest meetings, and then we hold a special ones explaining this process if they choose to stay in HomeFlex, how they could also be involved at TDS and LMS, and once again, student by student, we really help them develop the right plan. Oops, oh, I'm so sorry. Can you not see anything now? Let's see. I'm going to try that once again. We're
We
almost.
could still see it.
Oh, you can still see it? What can I see? Okay. So Fun Fridays is more than just fun, because we've created this really catch-all Friday activity centered around social emotional learning, socialization, open to all grades, highlighting cultural proficiency and diversity. And it's really magical because we have TK through 8th grade students logged on. And let's see, and when we are learning traditions and New Year traditions, we have experts who have been a part of the Mandarin program in our program. Here we are celebrating our servicemen and women. And we don't have a PTA, anything fancy like some of our more established schools, but we still do a paint afternoon or a paint evening and really encourage the arts and community and family community. And I'm gonna just mention Spanish enrichment just because in Lakeside, I think there is a lot of our families who struggled with this. Do I leave immersion if I'm going to home flex? And yes, they do, because we don't offer immersion. But in middle school, as I've shared with you, it's a little bit different. And in K through 5, we do offer Spanish enrichment Zooms, open to all grades. And students who were previously in Spanish immersion, they practice language in this collaborative social setting with peers centered on high interest guided topics. And here's an example about National Pizza Day. This was the topic on February 9th. And so students are able to still continue in that learning path, even if they have chosen to leave immersion momentarily. Oh, I'm not sure why I keep having this, but can you still see the screen?
We can.
Okay, why? I'm having trouble seeing it each time. Okay. All right, and so we've been having amazing STEM opportunities, and I'm highlighting just a few here. And oil spills, and we made space capsule there. We're testing water samples and tying it with literature pieces. And the reasons that our parents are choosing home flex, there are 4 categories, and I know the 4 categories are intermixed a little bit, but I just decided to outline these main ones that I hear over and over and over. A lot of our families love to homeschool. That we have a generation of parents now who have been homeschooled themselves, and they feel like getting to know and understand the learning styles of their own children is just so rewarding. Of course, another big group says COVID. That's really the only reason, COVID. I don't know what to do, but I think this is what I want to do. A lot of people have also stated other family reasons, like considering a relocation, just because, jobs and other situations, and needing flexibility through life's emergencies. Not always asking for an independent study contract because you need to go up north to take care of a loved one. They can take the kids with them. Looking for an alternative school. A lot of families are looking into the alternative school options, and they want to provide consistency at home, but with a set schedule that the family has some ability to guide. And I know we say that the teamwork makes the dream work, but collaboration with home and school makes the dream work. And I am so proud of what we have accomplished in just our 2nd year of home flex. Any questions?
Thank you, He-Jen. Does anybody have any questions?
No, just thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Then we will move into several public hearings. Erin, would you like to speak to the first one?
The first
You're back. Thank you.
I'm back. The first public hearing is to review a proposal from CSCA related to a side letter of agreement for compensation related to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on that one, so we'll go to the next one, number 2.
The second public hearing is related to the disclosure of costs for an agreement that we have with CSCA for our 2021 reopener negotiations. And there is a disclosure document that the board will approve next that states the costs related to this agreement. The costs are minimal here of $729 for this year and a little over $8,000 for each of the next 2 school years.
Thank you, Erin. Lisa, do we have any speakers on either of those public hearings? We do not. Okay, so we need to approve the disclosure of the collective bargaining agreement with CSEA and its chapter 240. Would someone like to make that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we need approval of the tentative agreement with CSEA and its chapter 240 to fully resolve all negotiations for the 2020-2021 limited reopeners.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and last on this one, we need approval for the 2020-2021 classified salary schedule effective July 1, 2020 and January 1, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Then we have another public hearing. And is this the one Cesar is going to speak to? Will you speak to this one? Okay, go ahead, Erin.
So this final public hearing is related to a tentative agreement that we have with the Lakeside Teachers Association related to COVID-19 reopeners for compensation. We have agreed to stipends. First stipend is related to attendance taking that teachers have had to do this year. And a second stipend that will go to certain special education teachers. And the total cost of this agreement is $236,468 and will be paid with COVID relief funds.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
So, right, but didn't, are there any speakers on this one? No. Okay, now we'll move to the approval. I think Bonnie made the motion, yeah?
I second
Rhonda
it.
seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we have approval as requested of the tentative agreement with the Lakeside Teachers Association regarding COVID-19 side letter of agreement, compensation, and benefits.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. And we move on to the consent agenda. So would someone like to designate the items to the consent agenda?
I'll designate all items to the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 So we now need a motion to approve. Is there anybody want to pull anything?
I was going to pull 4.6.
Same.
Okay, and I'd like to pull 3.1. So we will vote on all except for 3.1 and 4.6. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Go ahead and take 4.6 first. Go ahead.
Okay. So
Did we not have a motion? I'll make a motion to
I
approve
thought-
the consent agenda minus the 4.6 and the 3.1.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none. Okay, so 4.6, Andrew and
Yeah,
Rhonda, both.
I just wanted to thank all those who had donated to the district, particularly Hilliker's Ranch Fresh Eggs, who donated the eggs for our food distribution, which was an awesome display. The crowd was all the way up to Winter Gardens, I heard. So excellent work on everyone. And so I just wanted to thank Hilliker's. And then, of course, those who donated to our performance programs. That's a great thing in our district.
I'm just piggybacking the same sentiment.
And yeah, agreed. Thank you to all. We are always happy for donations. Thank you. Okay, would someone like to make a motion then that we approve 4.6?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Okay, then 3.1. I would just like again to say, Tessa, congratulations on being selected as the principal to Lindo Park. I would also like to congratulate Deborah Sasser and Valerie Morris on their retirements.
Nice.
Would someone like to?
I'll make a motion.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we will move to, I think we've got a couple of first readings here. So we have a first reading on the administrative regulation 0430 comprehensive local plan for special education, or just some little minor revisions in that one.
Yep.
Also have the first reading of board policy 7210, facilities financing. That's a new one, but seemed pretty straightforward.
Yep, it was
Yep.
informational though, very informational.
Yep. So we'll bring those back for approval in May. The enrollment report, Erin?
Tonight we have the enrollment report for the 7th month of school that ended March 12th, 2021. At that time, we had 4,659 students enrolled, which has a slight uptick of 5 students from the previous month. So that's a good thing. We normally don't see that in a school year. Typically, we decline every month after January, so that's a great thing. But unfortunately, it is about 372 students, less than the same exact period from the prior school year.
Thank you. Kathy Spreckel? Hi, Kathy.
I tell you, I keep thinking one of these days I'm going to remember to hit that mute button quicker. Welcome. Good evening, trustees. It's nice to see all your smiley faces. As Erin shared in closed session, our LTA COVID MOU vote did pass, but it was with the lowest ratification vote that I have ever seen. So it did have me concerned. So we looked for feedback. And the feedback that we got from teachers is that there are other districts around us, such as Cajon Valley and La Mesa Spring Valley, that they gave pretty large COVID stipends for all the extra hard work that their teachers did this year. And some of our teachers are feeling like La Mesa Spring Valley is still in distance learning, and then they're just looking at their second educational change. And our teachers have been through, I think this is our 6th educational change. I must say though that I really loved Miss Arnold's video. I'm sure you did also. This was the first time that I had seen it, and I actually teared up. I appreciate that she took the time to show the focus on the whole year, and seeing it from back, well, it's a whole calendar year, but starting from then and looking to now, it just reminded me of what we've been through. The stress is real. As I said, our teachers are in their 6th educational shift. It would have been nice to have seen everyone recognized for all their hard work, as other districts chose to. It really would have helped morale right now. But maybe with this next negotiations round, we'll see something. Also, your elementary teachers, they're finishing up their first week back to full campuses. I am hearing that they are just loving seeing all our students' faces in person. For me personally, there were 2 of my students that I hadn't ever seen in person, because I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and my partner teacher works Thursday, Friday. So she only saw cohort B unless I subbed or we switched. So I just love the fact that I could see their faces in person. We are all happy to see some of the normal return. For me personally, the increased time it takes to go from washing 12 students' hands to now 24 hands, and keeping those waiting engaged is probably my biggest challenge right now. I keep trying to fix that system, and I'm not doing very good. I think for others, it's navigating the pickup circle and how to get all those students loaded without our parents not being really happy with us. But I keep getting reminded of those students' smiley faces and how happy they are, and our teachers are happy also. But that being said, we will need the support staff that we have in order to keep doing this safely. We are starting to see the first signs of some behavior issues returning with the larger class sizes, issues that we might not have seen with the smaller classes. They're not getting triggered with the distancing, and the spacing in the quieter classrooms has really helped. We're starting to see a little bit of that. I'm sure as the weeks progress, we'll start seeing more of that. So we're really, really glad that we have our counselors and our TOSAs and other support professional on hand as we navigate the combining of the 2 cohorts, and to help middle school navigate this also. That's it for me tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
Welcome.
David Myers. Hi, David.
Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. So someday I strive to be as good of a speaker as Kathy. So I'm just going to wing it. So first of all, I just want to thank our class-wide staff. You know, Kathy said, you know, we need support, and I understand they need support for the children and the students to get back to school, but our class-wide staff has been there from day one. We're there cleaning, we're there getting the schools ready, and we've worked very hard. Our maintenance, our custodial people have worked hard at getting desks into rooms for kids so that they can come back. We've done it before school, and we've done it after our work hours, and we've also done it during school hours. There was times we were at some schools where we were waiting on classrooms to go out on the playground, and within 3 to 4 minutes, we were taking all the desks out, putting the new desks in. As Kathy said, the extra hard work that we've all done to get schools opened up, I really want to thank our class-wide staff. I mean, everyone from our campus supervisors to our food service to ESS, everybody, our special education department, everyone's been doing a great job in this. So another shout out, I think our classified staff, Shannon had talked about the audit going smoothly. please take into consideration, these are all classified people that are getting this information to the district so that their audits can go smooth. I really, really look forward to negotiating with the district here real soon. The teachers have got a nice stipend for attendance, but please keep in mind that attendance all funnels down to classified people that have to turn all that in. We are the backbone. I thank you.
Thank you, David. Erin, give us some business and operations updates.
Okay, so first, I think it's going to be a theme here. We have a lot of bond projects that are happening, so I'm going to be updating you monthly on what's happening with all those projects. The Lakeside Farms parking lot finally got completed. You all mentioned that you've seen it. So that was ready to go last Monday when students came back from spring break. There has been a learning curve. The parents are learning, you know, where do you enter it, where do you exit, that kind of thing. But overall, going very, very smooth, and it's like absolutely the best parking lot in our district now. We're very, very pleased with how that turned out. The TDS gymnasium project is well underway, and the foundation got poured this week. So that was exciting. We are also doing the TDS MPR modernization. Tonight, you approved the contractor that went out to bid. I'm happy to report that a Lakeside contractor, Southwest Construction Services, won that bid, so they will be doing that work starting in June. And the Lakeside Farms modernization and Lindo Park multipurpose room is out to bid, and we'll be bringing that both of those projects for your approval next month. And then tonight, the board also approved our brand new energy project. We have a firm called Climatech on board. Their first task will be to come in and do a full assessment of where we are in our district with our HVAC units, our lighting, and the intent of this project is to get more efficient energy equipment in our district, replace all those super old HVAC units, which will improve indoor ventilation, and with the ultimate goal of utility savings in our general fund, so that we can use our money on different things for students instead of paying that out in our utility bills. So that's very exciting that team is now on board, and they'll be helping us with that project. And also want to shout out to our operational departments who have been working like mad over the last several weeks to prepare for this reopening of phase 3. As David mentioned, our maintenance crew and our custodians have been moving furniture. They've been adding additional hand washing stations. They've been delivering PPE and COVID supplies across the district to make sure that we had sufficient supplies for all those things as we welcomed more students back. Our purchasing department bought all the additional plexiglass barriers, purchased the single desks, the lap desks, all those things, got those in place quickly. Our child nutrition and transportation department have pivoted yet once again. They've had to redeploy their staff for new bus routes. The child nutrition staff is pivoting from serving more meals on campus and less meals in the drive-through. So they've just done a fabulous job with all of those transitions, working very, very hard. And then right now, we are in the business department deep in our budget development for next school year. So we have been shifting to focus on that. We've held meetings with all the school sites and departments over these last 2 weeks to wrap up their budgets for this year and then focus on plans and how we're going to develop the budget for next school year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Erin. Kim?
You. We have been really busy in Ed Services. I'm just going to highlight just a couple of the major things we've been working on. We've been monitoring what's coming in from the state in terms of our CASP testing. The Federal Department of Ed has granted California a waiver that appears to give districts some discretion on whether or not we need to administer the CASP. Our feeling is that it's been challenging enough this year as it is, and we've lost instruction time We'd really rather spend our instructional time on instruction rather than on testing. We do have the NWEA map that provides us some growth measure. And our preference would be to use the local assessments to monitor progress on our goals, to report to parents. So given the opportunity, we would prefer to use the rest of our time on focusing on instruction rather than the CASP. But final details are coming from the state, and we'll keep you informed. Our team we've been, the LCAP timeline. And so we've been going through and coding and reviewing the results from the thought exchange surveys. We've had several surveys. We've got information from parents and students and principals and teachers and the budget committee that got input from CSEA and LTA. So we're coding all of those, and we'll meet with cabinet tomorrow to finalize our key actions and services to draft an LCAP to bring back to you. And then the big thing that's coming up very soon is the deadline for our Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant. We are super excited about summer school. Those plans are starting to come together. We haven't had summer school in this district since I've been here, for sure, and I'm sure before that. So we're excited to be able to offer a K through 5. We'll work on phonics for K through 2, fluency for 3rd through 5th. 6 through 8, we're going to use our Joe Boulder math units. We are going to be able to offer a K through 8 immersion summer school, and we're super excited about that. And then we're working on an incentive using one of our apps, an Imagine Learning app, to be able to get students that don't come to our summer school, students across the district, an opportunity to engage in one of our apps. That app has been super effective, so we think that's a benefit too. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Kim. Dr. Johnson?
Thank you. So as Dr. Reed mentioned, we're entering the final push here of the school year, so just a couple months left. And so coming forward to the next few board meetings will be some instructional plans that Dr. Reed will bring, then our LCAP, and then final budgets, and then we'll have a plan going forward for the next 3 years. I'm very excited about that. We have 8 weeks of school left after this week, so as of the 26th, all of our students will now be back in class, and our staff is ready to give every student a real good hard academic support and good hard push to get through the end of the year. I was in some classrooms today, and the teachers were saying, even in this first couple of days, how much progress they feel like they've made with all the kids right there in the class with them. So it's very exciting. Thank you for the action you took this evening to bring all of our district now into phase 3. So I'm very, very excited about that, and we're going to finish the year strong, and hopefully, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I really do believe that we're looking forward to a normal school year next year. So I know everybody's very much looking forward to that. So thank you.
Andy, how Kathy talked about pickup and drop off. Did you get any feedback from all I know that Lindo Park said that they got it down to 30 minutes, the drop off and pickup at the end of the day. Did you get any feedback from any of the other principals at our other sites?
Yeah, some of the pickup is going fine. Well, Lakeside Farms has got enough to do all the school sites that they want to do. So yeah, some of the schools are doing just fine. Others are. It's tricky because of the restrictions, the COVID restrictions of gatherings of adults. We've asked our parents to not be on campuses at this time. So it's tough. It's tricky. I will tell you, some of the most of the schools have like a soft opening. So the kids can be arriving over a period of 15 or 20 minutes, and that does help some. Dismissal's a little harder. So the feedback I've gotten is that, yeah, it is a little tricky in a couple of spots. But the principals are working really hard with it, and I appreciate the patience of all of our families at this time.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, then we are adjourned.